This is Dr. Jillian Hartley for Arkansas Northeastern College. I'm with Tonya Pankey, the Associate Dean for Allied Health and an Associate Professor in Nursing today. Ms. Pankey is participating in our college histories. It is November 6, 2024. Tonya, do I have your permission to record?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So can you tell us a little bit about when and where you were born?
I was born June 1969 in Blytheville, Arkansas. I grew up in Blytheville, and I have lived there most of my life except for about 14 years, and I have always lived within 1 hour of my hometown.
Wow. Can you tell us a little bit about your family growing up?
Yes, I grew up in a middle-class family. My parents were from this area as well. Both of my parents were high school graduates but had never attended college. My mother married my father the summer after high school graduation. My dad was a very hard-working, very smart man. He owned and operated a small business for most of my life. And during most of my childhood, my mom was a stay-at-home mom, but she was very successful of selling Tupperware back in its heyday.
Okay.
And I was their oldest child, and I have one sister who is 9 years younger than me. It was almost like being an only child, having a sister so much younger.
Well, and for, back in the 70s, selling Tupperware was, 70s and early 80s was a big deal.
Yes, yes.
So where did you go to high school?
I attended Blytheville Public Schools through the 9th grade, and then I attended Pathway Christian Academy for high school and graduated from Pathway. This school was affiliated with our local church.
Okay. So beyond high school, can you tell us a little bit about your formal education?
Sure. I graduated high school a year early, so I didn't have any desire to attend college and move away from home. I also didn't have many people close to me that had attended or finished college. And for as long as I could remember, I always wanted to be a nurse. And I remember coming to, at that time, MCCC as a child around the age, 5th grade. We went there for a field trip, and it was a lot of fun, and it left an impression on me, and I had always just knew that that's where I would attend college.
So when you first saw Mississippi County Community College, MCCC, what did it look like at that time, do you remember?
Well, what I remember most, I remember the area that was the Sunshine Grill today. It was a cafe, and I can remember hanging out there with my friends between classes, and probably sometimes during classes when I should have been in class. And we would play Uno and other card games and just chit-chat. And it was also that time that I met the love of my life while taking some prerequisite courses at MCCC. So I spent some time between classes and maybe, like I said, sometimes during classes, flirting with the man that would someday become my husband. And of course, when my nursing classes started, I had to buckle down a little more and study and attend class like I should. And I made friends with the students in my nursing cohort. And I can remember staying after class and practicing skills with my nursing student friends in the classroom that is now classroom B113. And I also remember how the faculty would post our grades on the door after an exam, and we would all gather around to see what we made on the exam, and we would stand outside there when they would tape up our grades for everybody to see.
And that's not something that happens anymore.
No, not at all.
So you go into you go into nursing, but you're also an educator. So what motivated you to go on that career path?
There was a brief period after I started college at MCCC that I thought I might pursue elementary education instead of nursing. In fact, I even changed my major for a couple of semesters, but then I ultimately decided that nursing was my passion. And this may sound kind of corny, but I love to learn. And I honestly don't remember ever being bored when I was in class and the instructors were teaching. I'm talking about the nursing instructors. They made everything that they taught sound interesting. 35 years later, I can still remember some of the stories that they told during class, and I can remember just sitting there thinking that I wanted to be like them when I grew up.
So you finished your 2-year degree at MCCC. Can you tell us a little bit about how you earned the degrees beyond the associate's degree?
Yes. So I completed my associate's degree in May of 1990, and I passed my NCLEX, which is the state board exam, on the first attempt and got my first job in nursing at St. Bernard's. I remember Miss Fulling, the dean of nursing at that time, called me at home to ask me if I had passed my boards. I didn't know I was supposed to let her know because she didn't know if I had passed or not. And she shouted for joy when I told her that I had passed. I was the last one for her to find out from our cohort, and we had a 100% pass rate that year. I had gotten married over that summer, and I began working on my bachelor's of nursing at Arkansas State University. I took a few classes at ASU. Then I had my first child. And then the next year I had another child. And 2 babies under 2, all while working full-time, made me put my BSN on the back burner for a few years. And then in 1997, I learned that ASU was going to offer a BSN at MCCC through compressed video. These classes were going to be offered in the late afternoon or evening, and that worked perfectly with my work schedule. So I enrolled in the BSN program at ASU through the University Center at MCCC, and much to my surprise, I was the only student. And Miss Patsy Smith was the University Center coordinator at that time, and she was so supportive, encouraging, and helpful to me when I would come to MCCC for the compressed video classes. I completed my BSN in the spring of 1999, having only to attend ASU campus for 2 classes. And I was so proud to complete my BSN. I was 9 months pregnant this time with baby number 3, but I walked, more like waddled, in the commencement at ASU and MCCC.
So you eventually you do practice nursing.
Yes, I did for 17 years.
For 17 years, but then you eventually come back to MCCC, which will become Arkansas Northeastern College. So at ANC, what titles or roles did you, and of course we've already talked about your current title, but can you explain the trajectory there for us?
I started at ANC during the fall of 2011 as a full-time faculty in the associate degree nursing program. And I taught in the foundational RN courses. And then during 2012, I became the first level coordinator. So I was the coordinator of all the first semester nursing courses. And then in 2013, I became the director of the associate degree nursing program. And this fall, I assumed the role of associate dean for allied health, and I'm the administrator now for both the RN and the LPN programs.
Well, can you talk to us a little bit about how it felt to return to the institution where you first started to earn your degree?
It was truly an honor. My family and I had moved from Blytheville in 1998 to begin pastoring. And in 2010, we had the opportunity to return to Blytheville to pastor a church, and I could not wait to apply for a position at ANC.
Well, so when you come and first start teaching for ANC, what were some of the goals and the mission not only of the program but the institution?
Okay. I believe the overall mission statement for the college and the nursing program has not changed since I've been here. In keeping with the college's mission statement, the nursing program is committed to provide, our mission statement is to provide educational opportunities for qualified students to acquire the necessary knowledge and skills to complete the associate and applied science degree in nursing and become registered nurses equipped to meet the healthcare needs of the community. That's not changed. The main goal when I joined the faculty at ANC was to improve student success, specifically when taking the nursing licensure exam. There had been a few years that the NCLEX pass rates were below the state and national average due to multiple factors. So when I joined the faculty, the focus was to improve student success on the NCLEX exam, and we have reached that goal.
Yes, you have. You all have extremely good rates. So when looking at campus culture, I want to talk about some of the changes. So you are a student. When you return as an employee, what are some of the changes that you witnessed, and what sort of factors do you think influence those changes?
Well, there's more student and faculty communication interaction. Faculty today are more facilitators in learning than just lecturers. And the major factor that has influenced the change in campus culture from when I was a student, I think, would be the internet and technology. I was a college student in pre-internet days. Faculty would come into the classroom and you had a notebook and a pen and a textbook. I do not remember receiving handouts or any other kind of learning materials other than my textbook. I don't remember having other sources of information at my fingertips like students do now. There was no learning management system, no way to email your faculty after hours. You just had to wait until the next day if you had a question. And as previously mentioned, grades were posted on the classroom door using your social security number, and that was to protect your identity. I think that's hilarious.
That's definitely something that changed over the years, because that was a common thing in colleges. Yeah, I remember sometimes grades that would use like the last 4 digits even, but even that is, big time privacy stuff. So looking at teaching methods, how have teaching methods, curriculum, academic standards evolved over the past decade? And feel free to elaborate even more than just the last decade. I just know we've had a lot of changes in the last 10 years.
I've been a nurse educator since 2006. I had taught 5 years previously before coming to ANC. And technology has greatly impacted teaching methodologies. I can remember when I thought it was high tech when I would show a YouTube video during class, and now that is funny. Now there is so much software that we use daily in the classroom and simulation. My teaching methods have become more active, and I have had to learn how to eliminate infobesity, and I didn't coin that word. I got that from a nurse educator. I've had to put my content on a diet and focus on the need-to-know information. I don't think our academic standards have changed, just mainly some of our teaching methodologies.
So, ANC is located in Blytheville, Arkansas, and this is an area that is in the upper Arkansas Delta. It's an area that has a lot of, challenges economically. So can you talk a little bit about what it means for this community to have a nursing program at our college?
It is an excellent pathway for students to enter the workforce in our area. Students that want to pursue the practical nursing program can complete that program in just 10.5 months. The associate degree nursing program is 5 semesters. Most of our graduates will go to work in this community or in the neighboring communities.
And that means a lot to be able to.
It does.
It does. So you're a student. You come back to teach. Are there any people who stand out to you from the time you were a student, or even now in your career since you've taught? Any notable people you want to mention?
Well, when I was a student here, I'm not sure what his title was at that time, but Mr. Jim McLean helped me complete my financial aid paperwork. I mentioned previously that my parents had no experience with college and the paperwork, and I remember my dad knew Mr. McLean, and he told me, take these forms to Jim and he'll help you, and he did. I can vividly remember sitting in his office in the A wing, and he helped me complete those forms. Miss June Walters was the registrar when I attended MCCC. She was always a welcoming face when you would go into the registrar's office. One of my first instructors was Dr. Darrell Johnson for biology in the lecture hall. He was very intimidating to me, as was the lecture hall when I walked in there. But I came to love his classes and his labs. And when I waddled across the stage in 1999 after earning my BSN, I remember him being such a gentleman and helping me walk off that stage, and that was just a full circle moment for me. I, like many people, have had Coach Bill Tyre for fitness classes and also a first aid class. And he impressed the importance of properly learning the Heimlich maneuver by sharing a story of how he had saved someone's life at a fast food restaurant that was choking on a hamburger. He told that story, and that just stuck with me. Miss Sharon Fulling was the Dean of Nursing during my time as a student, and I thought Miss Fulling was Florence Nightingale reincarnated. I'm pretty sure they're related. She was just a good example of a professional nurse. Another nursing instructor I had was Kelly Berg. She could tell stories about her career as a nurse with such compassion that she would make you feel like you were right there at the bedside with her while she was telling that story.
That's sweet. Mm-hmm. So you moved from the ADN director to the position of associate dean. So can you provide some details about the transition and what it's like to oversee
this new role This new role has been a transition. The dean, my dean of allied health, Brenda Hallfield, has been working with me and mentoring me for several years. She, as well as the rest of the allied health faculty, have shown me a lot of grace as I learn my new role. I still teach some in the classroom, but have been gradually decreasing my teaching load as I assume more administrative responsibilities. The first big change was assuming the administrator role of the practical nursing program as well as the ADN program. The biggest change is learning the other programs in allied health and their regulatory guidelines and managing additional students and faculty.
So you were in the ADN director position during the COVID outbreak, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so can you give us some insight and thoughts about how COVID-19 impacted and affected the educational environment?
Well, I remember the first time I had ever heard of Zoom. You, Jillian, were using it in one of your courses, and you shared it with us in a faculty professional development. And I remember thinking, oh, I could never do that. I could never be on the video and sharing that. But during my spring break of 2020, my faculty and I self-educated ourselves on learning to use Zoom technology because we had to shift to an online learning environment basically overnight. We were doing, nothing online, and we had to just shift on a dime and put things online very quickly. We also had to learn to use virtual simulation for replacement of clinical hours during the COVID outbreak. As an educator, COVID was mentally exhausting, but it did prove to me how resilient that the faculty and students were during this time.
And it was a transition that
it was.
You worked very hard in.
I think the whole college did.
Yes. So when looking at, because now that you are an associate dean, there are a number of allied health programs in addition to just nursing. Mm-hmm. So with all the different programs that are offered, can you talk a little bit about why that is important here?
Yes.
And to the Mississippi County and just to the region?
Most students that are educated in our allied health programs are going to go to work in Mississippi, Craighead, or Pemiscot County. Healthcare is so vital to our community and region, and for our area to grow, for people to want to come and live in our area, we're going to need access to quality healthcare.
Yeah. Okay, so kind of looking toward the future, you've had a relationship with ANC and MCCC for a long time. Mm-hmm. But so when you look to the future and you envision what's going to happen with community colleges, do you have any thoughts about what that future will look like?
I think due to the affordability of a community college, that we're going to see an increase in students starting at the community college level before transferring to a university. I also envision more partnerships at community colleges with our four-year institutions.
Yeah. How do you see the institution continuing to evolve and meet the needs of its students and community?
I think offering more programs or pathways to completions, such as accelerated programs, and maybe more fully online programs.
So are there any, from your student experience, from your teaching experience, from your leadership experiences, are there any particular values or traditions you hope will endure for future generations of students?
The three that come to my mind are caring, compassion, and professionalism. While we want students to be safe healthcare providers, we want students that graduate from the nursing and allied health programs at ANC to stand out as caring and professional healthcare workers. 35 years from now, I hope a former student can give an oral history about me and remember something that I shared with them. During the first nursing class, I shared with the students that every patient is someone's somebody. It is someone's mother, father, son, daughter, husband, wife, and they need to treat every patient like they would want to be treated or like they would want their child treated.
I think that it's safe to say I've worked with you for many years now. And I think you do set the bar when it comes to professional standards. You're truly one of the most professional, hardworking people I have ever worked with, Tonya.
Thank you.
And so I have no doubt whatsoever that there are people today and in decades to come who will definitely say that you're the one who influenced that. So before we sign off, do you have any other insights you wish to share?
Just that ANC is a great place to work. I consider my colleagues family, and it's just a blessing to come to work every day.
Well, thank you so much for participating in our oral histories. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you for asking me. I enjoyed this so much. Thank you.
Uh-huh.